Hey guys, I'm back and I am making another video of shopping my stash here to do some reviews for you on some things that are a little bit older. One of them's a little bit newer, and basically I just wanted to kind of take a look at some palettes from Huda because I know some people have questioned, friends of mine, whether they like the Huda palettes or not. And I have to be honest, I have bought a crap load of palettes throughout the holidays and early, I guess, this year. And I have to say that this palette is probably, if not my favorite, right up there. Because it's great quality. It's made in Italy. I think for me, at least in my experience, a lot of the Italian made palettes, the Natasha Denona palettes I have, the Pat McGrath palettes I have, the Huda palettes made in Italy, which are the big palettes, are all such good quality. You know, I feel like there's just something different about that. I don't know if they have different standards that they require them to meet over there or what, but for whatever reason, I do think that these palettes have a really good quality to them in comparison, especially with her smaller palettes. I have several of those and they're so subpar compared to this. So, you know, if you've had those palettes and you've been kind of like, they're terrible quality, not gonna buy it, sure as hell wouldn't pay the price for a big one when, you know, you're paying 29 or 30 or whatever dollars for a 9-pan that sucks, in my opinion. You know, I think you would still not be displeased with this. I think you would be happy with this. Now, having said that, this palette is a palette that is going to speak to those who love warm tones. I am a warm tone junkie, so this palette is perfect for me. Is it unique? No. If you have a ton of makeup in your collection like I do you have these colors 1,000 times over? Absolutely. You know, your basic oranges, browns, golds. You know, when Natasha Denona did her gold palette, everybody copied the gold palette. When we did, when we got the sunset palette and the sunrise palette and all the warm tone palettes and the naked heat palettes and all of those palettes that came out in the past, I think every company did 7 zillion versions of those. So if you have a lot of makeup in your collection, you do have these colors. This is not an overly unique palette, other than the fact that this palette does have a lot of different textures. And that's something that Huda is kind of known for. She's known for putting a lot of different textures in her larger palettes that she does once a year. So, you know, that is something that's of interest. Specifically, this palette has 2 shades here, that the black and the brown, that are meant to be used as liners. Now, I'm not going to use this as a liner. I'm just not. It works for that. I've seen people do it on reviews and videos for a soft line, what have you. Why? There's 1,000,000,008 amazing eyeliners out there. I mean, what is it that you need that you cannot fit a regular eyeliner in your bag? Or I don't know. You need a brush to apply it, so whatever. I don't even know why, but that's neither here nor there. I do use those shades, oddly enough, though. I use them as a base. I put them down as a base and put the other shades over them to make them like really pop against the black or dark brown. And oddly enough, they don't crease like I thought they would, but that may be because I shellac them down with setting spray, typically like the Urban Decay All-Nighter. And I could do reviews on a setting spray too if you'd like. Just mention it down below. I have many. But, you know, for this palette, I think that that's the best use for those shades. Otherwise, I don't really see a purpose. However, the quality is great on these. You know, like I said, you're not getting the most unique of shades. You know, I mean, we can swatch the mattes They swatch beautifully. They blend like a dream. You don't have to be good at anything. I'm not. You can be an absolute makeup moron, and this is idiot proof, and it will still turn out somehow. I mean, I did my makeup at a stoplight today with one brush, and it's still holding on. I mean, it may not look great, but it's still holding on. And I used this palette, and I didn't have any setting spray, by the way. So, I mean, and that was this morning. So we're talking about 10, 12 hours ago. So, you know, I mean, the palette's fantastic as far as the quality, the blendability, the ease of use rather. So, you know, for somebody who's new to makeup, you know, it's great for that. If you're somebody who is not into makeup as far as like collections galore, and you're looking for a single palette that is going to be your end all be all, and you are a warm tone person, that's going to be your color, that's your zone. This palette is fantastic because you have your browns, you have your golds, you have your coppers, you have your warm oranges, rusts, that kind of thing. And that's going to be all you should need to do what you need to do. So this is a very versatile palette for a warm tone look. You know, if that's your jam, that's my jam. So probably 99% of my looks are going to be that way, and I'm fine with that. If not, this palette's not probably going to be the one for you anyway, regardless of the quality, regardless of if it was on sale, you know, because it's just, it's limited in that regard. But it's a good palette. It's a good quality palette. So if you're a collector of makeup, I'm not talking to you anyway, because bottom line is you're probably like, I've already bought it, or I'm going to buy it regardless. So, you know who you are. You're me. So that's that. But if you're somebody who is more into colors or more variety, and you're looking for, you know, one palette that you can purchase to kind of do it all, you're not, you know, heavy into makeup, you don't have a ton of makeup, but you just want one palette, and you're still considering Huda, and or you've seen a Huda sale and you'd like to take a look at that, you know, I would lean more towards the option of perhaps the Naked Neutrals palette, I think is what it's called. That's one I do not have. Or the Rose Quartz palette, which I do have. Or the Mercury Retrograde palette, which I just happen to have grabbed here because it was just in my backpack from traveling. And this one is my favorite of those for sure. I think it offers the most versatility. So if you're looking for a single palette, you can do the most with. In the Huda category, of course, again, we're just talking about Huda palettes here. If you're interested in a Huda palette, and I do think they're definitely worth, you know, the money. I don't pay full price for anything anyway. So let's just be honest. I'm waiting for a sale, or I'm waiting for the VIB sale, or I'm going to use points off, or whatever I can do. So, you know, that's just who I am. But, you know, if you're somebody who's like, I don't care, sale or not sale, this is shelling out a pretty decent amount. I'm looking into buying one decent palette. I'm looking in the Huda family, and that's what you're looking to do, then, you know, warm tone empowered is probably where you want to go. I feel like it's the most versatile and the most high quality, personally, of the warm tones. That's my opinion. The Desert Dusk palette was my first Huda palette. Loved it, adored it. But for some reason, I don't know if the powders were just, the quality wasn't as good maybe, or they were just packed a little harder, but it took a lot more work to blend those, to get those to work. Those were not us do it at a stoplight in like 2 minutes with one brush. That was just not happening, and like wiping off the brush colors and changing. So, you know, cause it just wasn't happening for that palette. So that was going to be a palette not for a beginner, not for somebody who wanted a quick in and out way to go, like this one is. This is a 2-year-old could blend this palette, I think, honestly. But again, with this one, you have more versatility. If you are not just limiting yourself to warm tones, this one is more colorful. You do have more color options, but you also have plenty of neutrals there to do a no makeup look, do a super neutral look. You have some warm berries there. You have an orange peachish tone in there, so you could go with a little bit of a warmer look in that route. You know, you just have a lot more options with this. If you're a person who likes a little bit of warm, a little bit of cool, a little bit of this and that, and you're wanting one palette that's going to get you through every season, every need, everything, because you're not really a makeup person. You're not a makeup hoarder, makeup collector, makeup junkie. You're not sitting on 10,000 colors. And this is more of a unique palette. As far as, like I said, this is not going to be unique. You probably have these colors 1,000 times over, honestly, maybe not in one concise palette with this good of quality to just take and go. Maybe not, you know, you may have to piece that together. But this is, you know, much more unique color scheme in a palette, and probably the most unique of all the Huda palettes in my opinion. Now there's the Rose Gold Remastered. I didn't care for that. I felt like that was just Huda trying to make a larger version of the Modern Renaissance from ABH, and I can review that too if you want. But that's a fail. You can't ever replace ABH's Modern Renaissance. You know, so, and then the other one that I just happen to have with this stack in my bag here before I made this video was the Naughty Nudes, which I think leans a little bit warmer as well, and with the pinky tones also. You know, it's neutral, obviously, but a little bit deeper, a little bit darker, a little bit more berry options there than the regular nudes. And I like this palette. I like the quality. I don't think you'd be displeased with this palette if this is the color scheme you like. But at the same time, I don't necessarily think that, you know, this is anything that is going to be overwhelmingly unique like this one, or give you colors like this one. And if you're trying to fall into a more of a kind of warmish, brownish situation, I think you'll be, you know, go big or go home on the warmish, brownish. But, you know, this is a great palette too. There's nothing wrong with this palette. They're all very good quality. I personally think they're well worth the money, especially if you can get them on sale, and you can from time to time. They're all so much better than her 9-pan palettes. So if you've been jaded by that, and you're thinking, I'll never buy another Huda palette again, those were awful, you're kind of right, in my opinion. Compared to these, defo, these are so much better. And, you know, they are unique in that, even with this one, you know, being the least favorite of these three, even still, you're still getting a lot of these marbled textures that are kind of like a soft mix, where you get a color that kind of almost, it's like an interesting kind of, I don't know if it's picking up, but it's kind of a duochrome, you know, kind of a shifty when it mixes. So, you know, and so you get some interesting colors there. They are a little bit unique, but I mean, not over the top, you know, not anything that you can write home about. Again, like with this one, you know, you're getting some interesting things, but this is more of a quality thing for me. I mean, you're barely touching these, and this is what you're coming up with. I mean, this is like metal. It feels like metal. I don't know if this is even picking up on camera, the type of like pigmentation, sparkle, but it's like liquid metal, and it's just soft and creamy, and it's really just like a delicious palette. So, you know, if you're looking for a Huda palette. And again, this is just limited to Huda palettes that I'm referring to, of course, because there are 8 billion other palettes with these color schemes that I may like more or I may like less. Ooh, if you want to know, ask below. And I can certainly tell you. But if you were on the fence, or if you've been contemplating, or if you're like, wow, what is everybody making such a big deal about these once a year Huda palettes when I've tried so many of the 9 pans and they're garbage, I could not agree more. So, you know, but it's a big deal. This is such a big deal. I put it on a stoplight. 10 hours later, it's still there. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of insight. Hopefully you learned a little something. Hopefully you have made a decision on whether you do or don't want the Huda palette. And hopefully you were entertained, if nothing else, you know, because I'm freaking lovely. I mean, I am wonderful, fun, excitement, joy. Ooh, I mean, I can't get enough of myself, really. So exciting. But, you know, if you liked it, like and subscribe, share, comment down below if there's other palettes you want to know about. If you want to see other Huda palettes, I do have the Desert Dusk and I do have the Rose Quartz. I can show you those. If you want to see other comparisons to other palettes, I can show you that as well. If you want to see, you know, Natasha Denona palettes that I was referring to or something of that nature, I can certainly go through those. You know, I have a shit ton of palettes. I have a, as I mentioned in the prior video, if you didn't watch that, a dumpster fire worth of lip glosses and a general problem. I have a general shopping problem with makeup. So, you know, there's a likely chance that I may have something you have interest in knowing about or thinking about. And I think all these are still available. So, you know, if you're interested, I do think the quality's there and I do think they're worth it for you. If you're looking for a Huda palette, please don't be jaded by those smaller ones. Please get your hands on one and try it out, or at least hit up the Sephora and swatch them to feel the difference, see the difference. Put them on your hand and walk around and see how long they last, because I do think you'll be pleased with that regard. Otherwise, that's pretty much all I have for you. So like, share, subscribe, and you should come back and watch more videos because I'm going to keep making them regardless. And it would be a lot more fun if you were here and I had someone to comment back and forth with, or someone to tell me what the hell they want to see, because then I could actually make content people give a shit about. So anyways, I hope you have a great day, week, month, year, what have you, and I hope to see you back soon. Thanks.